I don't like the whole LeBron bashing stuff. I get it. My whole thing is just always, you're not the GOAT. It's like entering a different world, entering combat. It has me a little edgy. Gang ID? We didn't have gang IDs. If you really listen to that hour and you still think he's a piece of shit, okay. Trump is a dictator. He's arresting judges. You should be able to key our cars, jump on them, hit them with hammers as we go by. You should be able to do all of that. And if they actually did try to impeach the president again, you think we're just gonna roll over for that? This doesn't end well unless it ends. Can't just report the fucking obvious. Just a motherfucking jump. Just go. Let's fucking go. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy and the other fucking guy this Thursday afternoon. Chase, what's going on, man?
Not much. It's actually a pretty good day today. You know?
Yeah.
It's nice and sunny outside.
Nice and sunny. It's beautiful. It's been beautiful. It's been just incredible. 85 to 90 here is totally different than other places. It's just that dry heat matters.
I agree.
Now, when it's 120, it's just heat.
Unfortunately.
An oven is an oven.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah.
But this right now, this is still good.
Oh, yeah.
This is still good. It's still beautiful. And just, I don't even know. The Lakers, did you see that?
It's disappointing, honestly, how lazy they were.
But, I've seen that show before.
Yeah.
And I remember it against the Golden State Warriors a number of years ago. So it would probably be going back
2013-ish?
not that far. I'm talking about, because 2013, LeBron was not with the Lakers.
Oh, you're talking about when LeBron was there?
LeBron and the Warriors going back to the playoffs.
Must have been...
Let's see. 6 years ago, maybe? 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
And we'd have to see. But I remember game 4 that they lost to go down 3-1. And it was one they could have won, right? And I don't remember if it was game 4 or game 5, but I'm thinking it was game 4 because it's also when KD was there.
Okay.
And he was killing it. He was dropping threes, right? And LeBron was on him, and he got soft picked. He didn't fight through the pick. KD drained it. Game over. And the whole thing was KD was killing him. There you go. It was probably that.
Yeah,
the 2018-2019 season. And they ended up losing, the Lakers ended up losing the series then in game 5. But it was that game 4 that really mattered, that they could have really turned it around, right?
Okay.
That they could have done something there.
Yeah.
And it was, it was the whole thing. You want to be the GOAT, man. Well, it doesn't matter that Jordan was not like the size of Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Like Magic Johnson had the ability to play every position on the floor because of his size. He could play center. He's done it. He did it all in one game.
Yeah.
That's what made Magic special of what he did. But Jordan was the guy too, defensive player of the year, I think twice. And he's going to say, if somebody's hurting the team, he's going to be coming down. He's going to be telling guys, I got it.
Yeah.
This is mine. I got this. And LeBron just didn't do that. He didn't say, and he has the body and the ability to do that. I mean, physically wise, he's bigger than Jordan, and built and strong, and he just didn't do it. He didn't fight. And I'm not a part of, I don't like the whole LeBron bashing stuff. I get it. My whole thing is just always, you're not the GOAT. And this is why you're not the GOAT. You don't have that killer instinct in there to be the GOAT. So it's the GOAT debate. You take the GOAT debate out of it, I'll give LeBron his props, for what he's done in his career and being one of the greatest ever. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's just only in the GOAT debate.
Gotcha.
And then after it was 3-1, I knew they mailed in game 5. They should have just never even showed up. It was done. He wasn't going to fight, because if you fight game 5, then what else you got to do? Fight game 6, fight game 7. You got to fight to come all the way back. And that ain't fun. That ain't easy. He just mailed it in. That's what I feel like just happened.
Gotcha.
That they started out the first couple games. It looked like it was going to be a good series. And then what? You telling me that the Timberwolves are more talented than the Lakers?
As long when Gobert is actually being a center, then I think they have a really solid squad.
He's a solid squad. I don't doubt that.
But
I won't take
the
it.
Lakers have,
and I love
LeBron.
I love Anthony. I think I love watching him, and I love watching him when he's on. And I love watching him do yapping at people. I like that stuff, and especially when he's backing it up. But he didn't play all that great last night.
No. To the standard that he could be playing.
No, he didn't. But he's he's not the one who cost me last night. It was LeBron who cost me last night. Luka got his points. LeBron didn't. I don't think LeBron scored the whole first quarter.
I don't believe so either.
Yeah,
actually.
that's what's with that, man? You don't score the whole first quarter, and no matter. See, to me, when your game is off, when your shot is off, okay, step up on the defensive side. Because there's the one thing you can always do. And I realize you got to put points on the board, but you can always play defense. Always. And it's just a matter of energy or putting the work in. If your shot's off going back and forth and you guys keep missing, how about, if your shot's not going in, how about make sure theirs doesn't? And enough times, right, that at least as I remember Showtime back in the day, as I remember Showtime, the Showtime Lakers played defense and then they ran the floor on you. They shoved that ball. They would pick your pocket, they would get that rebound, and they would run that ball right down your throat. It would boom, boom. That's what can happen when like if you're not making the shot, and I realize everybody wants these 3-pointers these days, how about playing some defense and making some motherfucking layups? But he just mailed it in. And, it doesn't bode well. Maybe he's done, maybe he's not. I don't know why people ask that question right away after the game is over. No player wants to answer that question then.
Especially after a loss.
Right like after a loss. No player wants to do that. And if you're a journalist or sports, do you have an obligation to ask it then? No, you don't. You do not have an obligation to ask it then. Use half a fucking brain and get the idea. You're not going to get an answer right then. And even if you would get an answer, it might not ultimately be the answer after 2 weeks settle. Things can change. People are going to, in the moment, maybe say something that they don't really mean,
like, yeah.
So it's just a dumb question. It was a dumb question for the reporter to even ask him. But I've just seen that too many times from LeBron, where it's just game 5 is just mailed in.
Yeah, kind of just giving up.
Yeah, it's just done. It's just done. That, they didn't play so terrible that they embarrassed themselves, but they could have won that game. It was a winnable game, and at home.
That's the worst part.
Yep.
And they were doing pretty well too, if I remember correctly, up to the third quarter. Like they weren't struggling,
right.
And then they just like that last quarter, they were like possession after possession, they were just giving up the ball and like really dumb like turnovers and stuff like that.
Right. And actually, for the first half, the Timberwolves didn't make shit for 3-pointers. Like,
yes, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if they made one in the first half.
I don't think they
did. And it is kind of interesting because for me, things seem to go in waves or periods of time. Mm-hmm. And there's been a pretty good gap. You know, I've been interested the past couple of years, but there was certainly a gap where I really wasn't interested in the NBA.
Okay.
And I can say, you know, I had more interest last year, but this year I've watched plenty more basketball than I have. Now, maybe some of that has to do with the betting too.
A little bit extra motivation to watch the games.
It is sometimes. And Dawn, that she likes it, you know, and that makes
more enjoyable to watch it.
Yeah, that you just turn it on at the, you know, when we're trying to chill out at the end of the night, you know, turning a ball game on so that we both like it. If we don't have a series we're in, you know, turn on a game. Yeah, it definitely
talking
works.
about series tonight, we got obviously Denver and
yeah, that's been fun. That's been fun.
I'm excited.
That's been a good series. I've enjoyed that series. That's been another good one.
I'm actually excited to watch that. And I know New York and Detroit are currently playing, but I think New York got that one.
Yeah, I do too. But you know what I really want to see? To me, the NBA championship to me is in the next round.
The
Celtics and Cavaliers. Man, that who is going to is Boston going to maintain their dominance, which they certainly can, or is the new kid on the block going to flex?
That's actually one of my biggest points I brought up, because you know Jada, right?
Yeah,
we were having a conversation about the whole, like, whether or not the Celtics, because she believes the Celtics are going to go just right out, just destroy everyone, and you know, it's possible. I definitely think it's possible, but the Cavalier squad, I'm telling you, that Cavalier squad
they are a fun squad to watch.
Exactly.
Man.
So I'm excited to watch that.
And they play defense.
Exactly.
They do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I love watching that. So that's been certainly enjoyable for me, and love doing that. So yeah, just throwing that out there. Just been more into the sports. And you know what's as good as the games though?
What is it?
TNT.
Why is that?
I love watching.
Crew?
Yeah, I love, you know, watching Shaq and Barkley go back and forth. That crew that they have there, of any sport, baseball, basketball, of any crew where, you know,
there's a dynamic of people talking and stuff like that
on a regular basis for any channel whatsoever, CBS, NBC, all of them. I like that one the best.
I mean, those are
they're
the ones
just
I
fun.
see clips of all the time.
Oh my God. I don't know. Did we talk about this on the show yet? Did you see it was the other night. I don't remember which game it was, but Shaq was like trying to rush him.
Yeah.
Like one of the guys, it wasn't, maybe it was Barkley or so. He's trying to like get him to like finish so that because they were going to go to commercial.
Gotcha.
And he wasn't finishing. And Shaq just said, fuck it, and got up because he had to shit.
Gotcha.
He could not wait. It was not pissed. He could just tell. And so then when they came back from it, they kept showing in slow motion Shaq going like this over to the double doors. It was so funny. You just couldn't do that on any other program. And it was just so right for that show and just so funny. Those guys going back and forth are just great, and great analysis. It's a really good thing. It's a really good dynamic.
Jokes, but it's also like they know the sport. They all played the sport. So like, not only is it a lot of
and they played the sport,
so they understand it. High like levels.
I don't mean that, at its very best.
Gotcha.
That era is probably considered maybe the greatest of the NBA era.
I honestly would agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because everybody was there. Bird was still there. You know, Magic was still there. Shaq, you know, overlapping a little bit, but still that general time there when the NBA was at its height of popularity.
Yes.
Is a better way for me to put it then. And to have those guys make, there you go. Show that. You got to click on that too.
A 3% IRA.
I'm already. Oh.
I seen that face before.
Serious look.
I can feel
And then-
it. Now he's lipping.
There was the gate. There was like,
See, that's not I gotta piss. That's not I gotta piss.
I gotta be somewhere.
That's I'm squeezing my cheeks to fucking together, right?
So damn much. What you mean? Finish your point so we can go to break. I'm sitting here like, shut the hell up and hurry up. Sorry about that, America.
That's hilarious. No, I love that.
How good is that? That's just, but that's what I like today, and I think people like that today. They like real, and that is definitely some real shit. That was really, really good. So, yeah, I don't have a lot of sports to talk about today, but I did want to bring that up and chat with you a little bit about that. That was my feelings on that. You've been listening to the Outlaw Apostle Podcast, and I'm your host, Troy Neff. Help us out. Always asking. It's the only thing we ask every fucking show is for you to hit the subscribe button and share the show with someone else. And I can tell you, we're not going to keep sucking. Okay? I promise we're not going to keep sucking. I'm working on some pretty big things. Dawn is working on some pretty big things to help the show. I've got friends. Yes, hard to believe, but yeah, I got lots of friends that are also wanting to help with the show and get some really cool guests, and you're not going to want to miss it. This is going to become something, and we want to do it as a group, as the Outlaw Apostle family, and you're a part of that. And if you really want to be a part of that, you know the other thing you can do. Send me a message, contact me through any of the social media. If you know somebody, if you know a famous person, an athlete, you know, you went to high school with somebody and you're still friends with them, and there's some, you know, cool athlete, help us out. Message us. We'll give you credit. Get them on our podcast. We want to talk to them, man. Thank you very much, and God bless. I just feel like since we did the last episode, just bombarded with things going on, but I guess it's been that way since the beginning of the year. And trying to pick out, you know, what am I focusing on? And especially since I've been putting so much more effort into something that's totally stupid for me to put this much effort into, which is my X account. You know, I'm putting a shit ton of effort in there and like patting myself on the back for increasing followers by 18, you know, but hey, if that happens in 2 days, that's a big deal, you know, because I wasn't going anywhere for a minute. And I actually feel like I'm getting some traction and, you know, just need something to hit or go viral or whatever. But it's like entering a different world. It's entering combat. And it has me a little edgy.
Okay.
Definitely a little edgy. And I can be that way anyways, right? It don't take that much to get me there. But definitely I'm a little edgy. Because what pops up on mine is the anti-Trump people that I've responded to them. So it just pops up even more. You get even more. Whatever you focus on, you get more of, even if it's something you don't like, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what's happening there. And the things that people say just are like, it's the most god-awful, worst shit. And just being honest, I let it bring out a little bit of the worst in me, too. But I go back, is it bad? Should I do that or not? You know, I'm not going to go protest somewhere. I'm just not. I don't have time to protest, man. Good grief. I can't imagine. I don't understand these people, how they have this time to do that shit. I mean, I'm just happy that we get to plug in some fun stuff here and there, you know, because everything I'm doing right now is 100 miles an hour related to the business, and I have some things going on with the business and its growth and just how the world is right now. And yeah, with the business. And then this doing the podcast. I mean, people have no idea what it takes to do this and it takes to do this and kind of block certain things out so that I can keep doing it. To be not looking for the result today, but the result in the future, and believing in the process. And that applies, luckily for me, that I've applied that process in other areas of my life, that I can apply it to this one and have some faith.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? If this was the first time me doing it, it would be really, really hard. And it's already hard. And I'm not sure if people get the drift of what I'm saying. I hope they do. But it's the fact that I've done it before. I've ground it out, because most people would look at this, and if I was a troll, if I was trolling me, I'd make fun of me. If I was trolling me, I would make fun of me, because I make fun of people who have 16 followers on their Facebook and make some stupid post and, are slamming somebody. It's like, you have no profile pic and 16 followers, and you're slamming who? You're saying what? And that kind of stuff. So, that's what I would pick on. Like, dude, nobody's watching your podcast. Give it up. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
But I'm okay. I'm okay with that. And I'd be okay if somebody said that. In fact, I'd prefer they say that, because at least it would be true. Because as I've told you, I sometimes actually teach people who suck at insulting me how to insult me. Like, that one's not working, dude. Somebody said something about like me living in my mom's basement or something, and it was a young guy. Like, no, dude, that's you. I'm old, okay? That doesn't work over here. That's not. Now, when he started to kind of make a joke about me and putting on a knee brace or something like that, I'm like, dude, that you should have stuck with that. I'm old. At least you're on the right track there. That's a good one, okay? Stick with that. That's funny because it could be true. But when you just randomly make up stuff about people, it's not funny. It's not a good dig, and you got to have truth in it. And that's one of the reasons I'm like really, really good at it, is if I can find some truth about you, I'm going to hurt you some feelings. That's just going to be how it is. And I see when other people, I defend things. And nobody's necessarily asking me to defend them. It's my own choice to defend these things. And so when somebody attacks something that I believe in, yeah, I'm going to come back at you pretty hard. Because I told you, I've tried to do nothing. I can't do nothing. That's just not in me to do that. And then I feel like, too, I can find certain things, too, sometimes that I can use it to either post about or share here, that I'll take a back and forth between me and somebody and post it and use it as content. It's content.
Yeah.
Now, it's real. I'm not making it up. I like real stuff. So that's a good part of it, too. What I've recently, I'm really, really trying to understand, but it's hard to understand where people are coming from when you can't have a legitimate conversation with them, because it's just not about that. It's just about being in the mud, and you're slinging mud at each other, and you're not willing to. You have to at least, the two sides have to at least find a place to start at, that we can agree on whatever it is like, let's say that X is the problem. Now, we're arguing about the solution, or you're name calling, and one person is providing a solution, one person's just calling it. To get somewhere, you got to go back to where at least we don't have to agree on the solution, but we do have to agree on the problem. And if we can't at least agree on the problem at any point on the scale, then there's nothing there. You're not going to add anything to me. I'm not going to add anything to you. And some people are willing to do that, and some people aren't. And the number of people that are willing to do that are very few. So one of my Facebook friends, really good dude, I made that post, or we put that clip up that short up that I had of Shedeur Sanders on my Facebook. And I put it a few places. It really was doing really well on TikTok until TikTok took it down and I had to appeal it, and then they put it back up. But I lost all the comments and all the follows I had up to that point. It just sucked so much. So there, Michael Manis. Michael's a good dude, and he had his opinion of it. And he did use the words of arrogant and cocky and, what he sold. But what he was seeing, right, was just snippets, like I said. And so him and I had a back and forth, but he wasn't a dick. And I offered, hey, I totally get how people will say that about this particular situation and these particular people. But if you're willing to just listen a little bit more, then maybe it'll change your mind. And what I sent him, I don't know, I think I posted it on there. I should. Maybe I posted it on there on the whole thing. Go to the top of it. Yeah. So that particular YouTube video that I posted is 2 years old. It's right before Deion starts at Colorado.
Okay.
Or right at the beginning of that. And that is a great 1 hour of somebody to listen to, and listen to what he did at Jackson State, how he feels about the kids, what's important to him about education and the university, and what the athletic program can contribute to it, and how to operate it and operate it successfully and take it to a different level and all of that, because he received some criticism for leaving the, HBCU, the, historically black college, for leaving that and going on to Colorado. And as he said, it wouldn't have mattered if he left after 2 years or 5 years. People were going to say something about it. But he made an agreement, and he kept his agreement. And he could have stayed there longer if he wanted. But it was an opportunity for everyone. And then what he did at Colorado, and if you really listen to that hour and you still think he's a piece of shit, okay. At least I know that you listened to something other than a snippet, and something that I think is influential and good, and this is why I like him. You still don't have to agree with me, but at least if I know you've listened to that and gone beyond just commenting on something that you haven't watched a game, you haven't listened to a press conference, you just have this preconceived notion about him, okay? It's no different than when people do the same things about our politicians, right? That they're just having these preconceived notions, and so I hate this means I hate that. Or, since you, or like I had a guy come at me that because of one of the Sanders posts, maybe it was this one, I had this dude come at me, and if you listen to that snippet, you wouldn't really know that, or what was I commenting about? You wouldn't really know that I was a Sanders fan.
Gotcha.
Okay, you know what I mean? You wouldn't know by the little snippet or what I said, or, oh, I know what it was. It was on somebody else's post. It was the fact, you're familiar with, what happened with the prank call.
Yeah.
Right? And a number of players were pranked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Not just him, but other players. And I don't know if they found out who prank called everyone. I don't think it was the same kid that prank called them all. But the NFL fined the team and the defensive coordinator, the coach, both. And the kid said he was sorry and yada, yada. Well, the NFL can't fine the kid, right? Well, totally separately, I don't think they should have fined. The NFL had no business fining that coach Okay. Now, if that coach left open information or a computer and his kid got into it, to me, do you know who that's between? That's between the Falcons, the owners, and the coach to handle it. That if they say, you need to be more careful with your shit, you know, this is the thing that I think it was a team thing and how they wanted to handle it.
Gotcha.
And finding the coach, not the league. Because people are always going to say, we need more of this and yada, yada, and the kids and, you know, people want, when kids do something wrong, there's a whole group of people out there that just always seem to gravitate to wanting to punish the parents. And we've had this conversation before, and it's real simple. There are good parents who have bad kids, and there are good kids who have bad parents. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't believe in punishing the parent for the kid if the parent didn't really play a direct role in it, you know, or whatever it is, not just this one thing. So just because it's not that I think it was right that it happened, but because I made that comment, the person automatically assumed that I wasn't for Sanders, which I am, and I'm white, and I'm MAGA, so I must be a racist. So it immediately went to I'm a racist. It's like, dude, you know nothing about me, and you're playing that I'm a racist card, and nobody has their social media. You cannot have your social media more public than I do. And the reason I said somebody can have their social media as public as mine, but they can't have it more. Yeah. And how do I know this? Because all of my social media is public, not just to friends and friends of friends. It's public. Anybody can go on my page at any time and see everything that I've put up there about myself and the about info, you know, work history, everything. And they do not have to be a friend or follow me. They just need to go to my page and they can see it. You can't make it any more open than that. And I do that on purpose because I'm real and I'm authentic, and people like to, because it's a thing now, people like to claim they are. I don't really want to have to claim that I am. I show that I am by just being I'm not a coward. And if, you know, I've used people's pictures against them for being idiots sometimes. You know what? I'm not, and they'll cry about it. How could you take my picture down? Dude, you put your picture up there. I didn't randomly come take a picture of you, motherfucker. You put it out there. So if you put it out there for people to see, guess what? I can use it. I can do whatever I want with it. Just like you can draw, you know, a Hitler cross necklace on Levitt, the spokesperson for the White House, and yeah, that's out there now. She's Hitler, right? You can do that to somebody's picture. I can do whatever I want with your fucking picture if you put it out there, and you can do anything you want to my picture and say whatever you want about it. I put it out there. I put it out there first. But if you want to show me off about it, I'm a 57-year-old jacked old man. Please post that. Embarrass me. See how that works. I don't care. So yeah, having that back and forth and just how people just make these big leaps, big assumptions, and then take that into politics a little bit. We're going to do that. What I want to show you too is pull up the math problem. There's a reason I did this. So this has been coming up on my reels on my Facebook a lot lately. So if I'm scrolling on my feed for 2-3 minutes, looking somewhere along the line in that 3 minutes, one of these math problems is going to pop up. Mm-hmm. And because I've solved them and answered them, and I don't know, I've kind of liked them. Some of them have been like really good. And then I like to go in and see what the answers are. Dude, the answers are fucked up. And when you are 100% sure. Like, so there's no argument between you and I. 1 + 1 is 2. All day long, every day.
Yep.
Right? We can't argue that. That's what this is arguing like. That's what this is like. That when you are that sure of something, as sure as you are of 1 + 1 is 2, this is maybe slightly more complicated than 1 + 1, but when you know how to solve the problem and you do solve it and you're as confident of that answer as you are of it being 1 + 1 = 2, and somebody's trying to, and then you know what I'll do too? I don't just give the answer. I show the work. This is how you break it down and show the answer. So in this case, you know, it goes, there's a whole thing, it goes parentheses and exponents and that. Okay, but are no parentheses here.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem most people have is that they don't do the math in the right order.
Correct.
So, and then, you know, if there's two things like division and multiplication are equally important, then you go from left to right.
Yeah.
Very simple. We're totally on the same page. So 9 divided by, so here, because 9 times 0 is 0,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
People ought to, if I had done it, I wish I had done it. I'm sorry I didn't. But if I had done it so you could look at the answers of this particular one, you would see in there like a whole bunch of people answering 0 because they're looking at the whole problem. And then at the end, they see that. So they don't even try to solve the problem. They just know anything times 0 is 0. So the answer has to be 0 in this case. And that's what they say in the comments. And that's not how this works out. That's not true.
That's not how math works.
It's not how math works. But I literally break it down. And after I break it down and I show you how to get the answer and you still argue with it, at that point, I'm exhausted. And I'm going to give you that example because it's a fun example. And it's more of a comprehension problem than it is really a math problem. But in this case, for y'all who don't know, you're just going to do the division first, which means 1.
Yeah.
Then you're going to move over and do the
9 times
multiplication,
0. Yep.
which is 0. And then finally, the math is the
1
last
plus
thing
1.
you do. 1 + 0?
1.
It's 1. The answer is 1. 1.
Yeah.
And so when and it's like, I'm as sure that it's 1 as I'm sure that, you know, the sky is blue and grass is green. That's how sure I am. And you're that sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I feel like is in the bigger picture too, when we're talking about politics and other issues and things. You know, at least at first, why can't you and I, if you're not sure or you gave a wrong answer, why aren't you at least open like I'm showing the work? Why do you think my work is wrong? Show me where my work is wrong. You know, well, this is how it goes. And I've wanted to say, but I didn't. Last but not least, there is something you can do to fact check it. And if you wanted to fact check it, how would you fact check this?
Fact check your answer?
Yeah. Or fact check or just find the answer to this problem and fact check it.
Just throw
How
it
would you
into a
fact check?
calculator. Calculator.
Yeah, but
or
it's just not going to matter. People use the calculator if they do it in the wrong order.
Yeah, but I guess there's calculators nowadays where you can type in the entire.
Dude, you can do that on you're right. You can do that. You can do that on your basic Apple calculator.
Yeah.
You can type it in like that.
Yeah, if you flip it.
But
side by side.
I'm thinking these are old people, dude.
Gotcha.
Okay. So they're typing it in on their calculator.
And they're not going to get because they're putting it in.
Because
in
they're
that
putting
order.
9 divided by 9
plus 9
is
times 0.
1 plus 9 is 10. And some people gave the answer 10. Then times 0, so the answer is 0. They're doing it in order,
Gotcha.
left to right.
Gotcha.
They're not doing it in the correct way that it should be done.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes, you are correct. You could fact check that if you have. I don't know if if that works that way on
Computer.
No, the other phones, the
Androids.
Androids or whatever.
They could.
I
they
don't know,
could,
but I
either.
know Apple for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, you can do that. So that's a good point. Another
Just
way you could do
Google.
it, you could probably Google it. Yep. Dude,
Or just do the
you
math.
could take this picture. Yeah, but they don't know how to do the math. They're doing
I guess they're
order the
struggling
math
with
in
the
wrong.
math
They're
part,
struggling
yeah.
with the math because they're doing it in the wrong order. So what you could do is you don't even have to type it out.
No.
You can snapshot this picture,
Oh, and just
go
send
to
it
go to
AI.
ChatGPT
Yeah.
or Grok, hit the little button for that, which is a paperclip, I believe.
Yeah.
Put it in there, and just say answer this,
Mhm.
and it'll give you a serious
Yeah,
breakdown.
It'll break it down for you.
Okay, it'll break down the parentheses and explain which goes, and it'll even say, okay, you do this. Okay, there's no parentheses. Leave that out. You go this next. Okay, you do that. And breaks it down thoroughly.
Good old PEMDAS.
Thank you. That's what people who answer right, and when people give a shit that I don't actually put that, but other people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Good old basic math.
Yeah, there's an acronym for it, and you just gave it, which is the PEMDAS.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. But they could fact check it. But instead, they argue. Like, motherfucker, just fact check it.
It's kind
Just,
it's super
fact
easy to-
check it,
honestly,
dude.
though, especially nowadays.
you would think, dude.
Especially nowadays.
Especially nowadays, dude. That's how much it is. Like, my employee, Edie, that she's basically my office manager, and I've been telling her she's been using some different things and learning because she's doing some things for me that she's never done before.
Okay.
And I got her into the Chat GPT, and she downloaded it, and I just made her yesterday make a X account
Okay, nice.
so that she can get into Grok. I'm like, look, Edie, you're just a little bit older than me, okay? We want you around longer. You're going to be around longer. And so don't be like everybody else our age. Don't be like that.
Don't fall behind. Yeah.
Don't start the things you're asking, the basic shit you're asking, Google,
Mhm.
start asking this.
Yeah.
Basically, that's it. That's the best. Start somewhere. And then I'll tell people, like, please don't take this the wrong way, people. Okay? It doesn't mean I don't care. I do care. But it's very difficult sometimes. I don't want to say the same thing. And it's actually because I care that I use it. And so let's just say a friend
Mhm.
has a significant person in their life, a
Okay.
parent, pass away.
Okay.
I might ask it, how can I respond and say something nice in a post on Facebook to my friend who just had their mother pass away? And then I'll take it and tweak it so it sounds like me, like Troy's saying it.
Yeah.
Words I would use. Like sometimes the AI will use a fancy word, and I don't communicate like that very often. I don't use a fancy word when a basic word will work, because it's just how I've learned to communicate over the years in sales.
Yeah.
To be able to draw, like, why? Who am I showing off to? Like, because I know when I say a word
Mhm.
to someone that I haven't used in a long time, I know it. So that if it means I know it, then other people have to notice it, right? Geez, I haven't heard that in a long time, or I've never heard that word before, And I have pretty good depth, I feel like, because I used to do, like, because I didn't go to college. So what I did when I was young and in the financial business and reading the Wall Street Journal,
Mhm.
dude, I was reading all kinds of shit I didn't understand. I looked it up. If I didn't know the word, I looked it up. It's basically being self-taught. That's what I did. I self-taught. I learned and became smarter by acknowledging what I don't know and being willing to look it the fuck up. People respect you. That I just had a conversation with a new client, Dawn and I did today. Same thing. They had some health issues that, I wasn't as strong with. And actually, Dawn is pretty strong on those particular health issues, being a nurse and how those things are treated and stuff. But I told him that. Like, look, this is what I do, and this is how I can help you. And in the area that you're talking about here, that particular health issue, I'm not as strong there. But I do care, and because I care, I'll figure out what may work. And I'll dig into it.
Yeah.
And they appreciated that. Because you're not bullshitting them. I'm not trying to bullshit them. I'm just being honest. What they want is an answer. What they want is relief because of the health issue going on in their life. They want to feel better. And people are afraid. And I do agree with that a lot, that in almost every area now, politics is super bad, even in basketball. So the other night in Game 4 that the Lakers lost, they kept the starters in the whole fourth quarter.
Yeah, the entire
right?
half.
Yeah, the entire half. And it didn't go well.
No, it didn't.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was a bad decision. But J.J. Redick didn't want to acknowledge that it was a mistake, because then that means he's inexperienced. And he could have just answered the questions like, look, I don't have the same, everybody has to start somewhere. And I do lean on my assistant coaches. I consult with them, but ultimately the decision is mine. I made the decision. I learned a lesson. You'll never see me do that in a game again. That backfired. That didn't work. So I will, next time I'm in that situation, we won't get this. We have a good chance of not having the same outcome because I'm not going to do the same thing. And he could have just acknowledged it and been done. Instead, people are going to talk about it now because you're defiant. And that's just, people can say that about President Trump, and I'm okay with that. People saying that. That can be fair sometimes. But I think that's true of every single motherfucking politician. It's both sides now. They can't admit or feel like they can't admit that they were wrong about something, because it's just going to give the other side a way to hammer on them. And I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm jumping all over the place. Hopefully it is making sense for good reason, because I'm trying to connect this all. Pull up the picture of, what is his name? Alberto Garcia? Is that the MS-13? Yeah. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Okay. So take Abrego Garcia, put MS-13 pick. So we want a picture. So MS-13 tattoo pick. I'm sorry. And it should give a tattoo pic of his hand. Hand tattoo, and go on images. Okay, so that one right there, I want you to pull that one up. Okay, so this was totally a weird thing. Yeah, give us the picture. Just the picture. We were there. Yeah, that's good. So here's the thing. Here's what happened. What does you know enough about this? What does Trump know about addiction and drugs and alcohol?
Him himself
personally.
He hasn't done alcohol, right? He
hasn't drank. He hasn't done. He doesn't know a lot about it. He knows a little bit because his brother was an alcoholic. Yes. Okay, so he knows a little bit about it. But remember when he was on with Theo, that he was asking Theo questions because he honestly didn't know and was curious, right? Do you think in Trump's world
he would know what those tattoos meant?
That he knows much about tattoos and
Probably
gang
not.
member tattoos?
Probably not.
Probably not.
He probably understands the concept of there being like tattoos.
He knows that there are, but he does. That's not his world,
exactly.
dude.
Yeah.
And so what fucked him over, okay, is the fact that somebody on his staff did this, took a picture. This is that because they're saying, oh, that's not real. It is real. What's not real, and it is true that they photoshopped and put the MS-13 above it. Because that's the actual letters MS and the actual numbers 13 are not tattooed on his hand.
No.
Okay. And you can see that looks odd. That looks fake.
Yeah.
But that's not the point of it. The point of it was to show, okay, and even underneath it, the words, those words aren't there.
Yeah.
Okay. They put that on there just like they did the MS-13. What is on his knuckles is the marijuana leaf, is the smiley face, is the cross, and the reverse 3. That's what that means. It's a reverse 3. Okay. That is on there. And so Trump argued with somebody, and Trump was wrong. He was arguing with somebody that they were saying, you know, oh, it's not MS-13. He goes, yeah, it is. It was on there. He was looking. Somebody on his staff should have told him, Mr. President, this is imposed on here, and this is that the M stands for the M in marijuana.
Yeah.
That's what that stands for. And that's true about gang tattoos. And do you know how I know? I'm a fucking outlaw, dude. I have, somebody could call them gang tattoos. They've been called gang tattoos. We preferred to not say we were in a gang.
Yeah.
We were motorcycle enthusiasts. So outlaw bikers call themselves motorcycle enthusiasts.
Yeah.
The public sometimes calls us other things. Okay. So I have that, and we did that kind of thing, that there would be symbols that we would have tattooed that have significance with motorcycle club, just like a gang would have, or, you know, the Crips, the Bloods, they all have their own things like that. They all do. And yeah, I'm sure he was scared to go back to El Salvador. Why? Because he does have the MS-13 tattoos on there, and there was a significant rival gang that he claimed was after him and his family. Well, no shit, dude. No different than the Crips and the Bloods. There's a rival gang. He's not afraid of MS-13. He's afraid of the MS-13's rival gang and being at the wrong time, or being in a place, being in jail when he ain't got other people to stick up for him in there or protect him, right? But now, you know, Trump's an idiot. Trump's dumb. No, he's not dumb. His staff should have prepared him for that. I blame the staff on that. And do I really want to give Trump, you know, I'm not trying to protect Trump. He doesn't need protection in that way. But that's not his world, man. It's just not his world. Why the fuck would you expect him to know that? We all have different things that we know more than other people know because we're in that world. We live that, whatever that is. He wouldn't know that. But yeah, there was an argument, but they're trying to distract it and make it like the whole thing isn't true. That the whole tattoo thing isn't true, or him being a gang member isn't true. Yes, it is. Okay? When you're caught with rolls, who the fuck rolls their money? Drug dealers. Okay? You telling me normal dude working at Jeep rolls his fucking money? No.
I don't want to be the devil's advocate, but I know I know quite a few people that roll their money because they don't want to put them in banks. So that's just it's an easier way to
that too. That's
store
okay.
To store money, to be honest with you. Yeah. I've seen it.
But you're not. But if you're carrying it around.
Oh, if you're carrying it around, yeah, no. Probably.
And we're talking significant amounts.
Gotcha. I thought you meant just in general. Gotcha.
No.
Gotcha.
And if you're caught with drugs, and if you're caught with weapons, and if you're with other people who are known members of the gang, okay. Again, you may not. We had what we would call support people. You may not be a member of the motorcycle club, but you may be a supporter of the club. And, you know, there's a connection to that you're going to have to live with because you are who you hang out with, man. So what was he doing hanging out with, if he's not a MS-13 member, what is he doing hanging out with them? And you know what the dumbest thing to do would be? To not be an MS-13 member and get MS-13 tattoos.
It's a little more common than you think. I don't know if that's just.
No, I'm
but
telling
it's
you,
a
if
little more
somebody
common than you
does that,
think.
you're a motherfucking idiot. You're just
I
asking for
agree
a
with that.
whooping and a bit. That's what I mean about
No,
it.
I agree with that.
If you put that stuff on there so you can act like fake it,
badass,
that you're
yeah.
tough, that you're a badass, and you put that on. I'm not talking about a teardrop.
no,
Okay,
no,
and
yeah.
I'm talking about
the actual
the
gang,
actual
like, tattoos,
gang
yeah.
member tattoo. Okay,
Yeah, no, that's not a smart.
you
decision.
do that, you're a fucking idiot. You get what you deserve. You're gonna get, because what else would a rival gang think?
They're not gonna ask you what.
They're not gonna they're not gonna ask you for your gang ID. We didn't have gang IDs.
Yeah, no.
We didn't have. That's the ID.
That's the ID.
That is the ID, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I'm talking like I didn't expect it to go this way, but I am. We're just gonna go with it. So, I have, I don't have a prison record. I didn't go to prison, do anything like that. But have I been arrested? Have I been in jail? Yeah, I have. Okay. I don't shy away from that. And there are different times you not going to have your shirt on. People could see what I have on my back. I don't have the full Avenger tattoo on my back, but I do have the upper, because that's what I was allowed to do at the time, and that's what I have, and I still have it. Now, I had another tattoo that I partially covered up and have a skull on it, and I was going to have the cover up finished, and I decided not to. I leave it that way. So you see a blend of the Avenger tattoo, and then you see it blended with this skull. And the reason I decided to leave it like that and not fully cover it up to like where it would be like you'd never know it was there, because that could be done. Why I didn't do that is because that's just me growing as a person and understanding that was a part of my life, and I didn't want that to be totally gone, because covering it up wasn't going to mean that it was gone, that was a part of my life for that period of time, and a part that I acknowledge and has helped me grow and help other people and do other things. And you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying,
yeah. So I left that. I have another one that is over here that is significant. And it's basically the same patches in the same places that we had them on our vest.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So I do know a little bit about what different meanings are and symbols and stuff are. But yeah, people are attacking Trump over this. And it's not his world, man. He wouldn't know. He doesn't, he's not against being around people that have tattoos, but that's not a significant amount. Look, how old is Trump now? 78?
He's getting up.
No, he's over. He's in his 70s.
78 years old.
I was right. 78. So he's 78, dude. So he's got me by 21 years.
Wow.
What is the difference between 21 years ago and today in tattoos?
A lot.
A lot. A lot.
No, yeah.
And that includes piercings too.
Yeah.
Like before, just like it's just how the whole thing is. You never saw men with piercings. And I told you, I got earrings when I was, wasn't junior high, it was freshman year of high school is when I got my ears pierced. And then only one ear. And then once I saw athletes get it in both ears, I went to 2. And some of the big time athletes still left it at 1 because that was their time and what started. And you'll see them today and only have, you'll only have 1. And then, different parts of the skin. I had my nipples were pierced for a few years.
Do you remember you telling me that?
And the only reason they're not now is because I competed in in the Kentucky Open and had to cut them off so I could compete. Oh, so fun. Well, no, I could screw those out, and I left them out then. But the ones in the ears I had to cut off. But I've had both. When I had the circle, that wasn't as good as the post, just comfort-wise and stuff, but whatever. But yeah, I had that. But nose, like in the side of the nose, dude, that was a chick thing. 100% a chick thing. And then somehow now you see quite a number. It's not uncommon to see a straight dude that'll have his ear pierced here.
I actually have my nose pierced as well.
See, there you go.
I haven't had it in a while, but yeah. It became it's a much different period.
But it was just women. 100% just women. And then some men started doing that. And then the nose inside
septum,
to the septum, okay. That was mostly a chick thing. Some guys, it's
becoming more.
It's become way more popular amongst both genders in the last 2 years.
Oh yeah.
Like specifically the last 2 years.
Oh yeah.
Like the growth has been like it probably quadrupled, right?
Probably.
Like anywhere you go.
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
Okay, you and I could not take our camera and walk through the mall and go into the mall, and I'm not even talking about the people shopping, but I'm talking about the people working there.
Oh yeah.
If we go in 3 or 4 shops, somebody's going to have that piercing.
I'd probably agree. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that common now, like kind of a thing. I'm just saying this isn't common for that's not the world he's walking around in.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know it. And just to slam him over this when the whole point is about whether or not this guy is actually a member or not, or have tattoos that indicate it. Okay. For those of us that know, if you take off the superimposed shit that confused the president, okay, it clearly, that's what those symbols are. There's nothing else. And they know that because when and you can say, but it hasn't been verified for him by a court. Listen, you telling me the FBI or other kinds of, I don't know if DHS or whatever officials, enforcement officers, the blue, you telling me they don't build files? When look, I've had them take pictures of all my tattoos. You get arrested, they take pictures of them. And when 20 guys come in that have similar tattoo and are convicted, and it's proven in court, well, when the 21st guy has that tattoo, you pretty much know what it means. Does that make sense? Am I saying this right? Yeah. Clear enough so people can understand it?
If you're going to have the same tattoos over and over and over again, it's obviously...
Or the same members doing the same shit, you're gonna figure it out that, yeah, this goes together. That it means something. And you can make assumptions about that. They build profiles. Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's called profiling for a reason, man.
Because they have an entire
Well, it's no different than what you said. What you were just showing there for people who are white supremacists.
Yeah,
there are tattoos that are associated with being a white supremacist. And if you don't want something on your body to be considered for you to be considered a white supremacist, then you might want to not put one of those tattoos on there. And I'm specifically thinking, there's the lightning bolts.
Yeah.
That's one.
The 2 lightning bolts.
Yeah. That's Nazi shit. We definitely have seen that. It's no expert cast doubt on Trump's claim. There's no doubt, dude. It's all because of that being superimposed on there and arguing about it. We're arguing about the wrong thing. And it's just being a dick because nobody wants to agree and say they were wrong. And somebody should have the balls enough in Trump's staff to say, Mr. President, I failed you and you were wrong. And he should say, just like, I didn't know. I don't know that much about tattoos. The staff gave it to me this way. I didn't know that those letters were put up there so people would know that it signifies that and that he doesn't have the letters, but he does have the actual symbols. And that's all he would have to do, man. And take the air out of them like hammering on him for that shit. It's just dumb. But that's what we get now. Go back. What else did we have there? Yeah, we had that. That was good. Oh, I did want to do this quickly too. Yeah, because I thought of all the things I've seen in a very short period of time, this guy really breaks down because now the screaming is Trump is a dictator. He's arresting judges. Okay. Well, he didn't like arrest or say, I don't like this judge. Go arrest this judge. Okay. That's these people's job every day to do this shit. They're not getting a call. ICE is not getting a call from the president to go arrest this judge. It's the call of the prosecutors and the ICE agents that were dealing with this case. Now, yeah, there's a chain of command going up, obviously. And that chain of command has said down, this is the stuff we're looking for. This is what we're doing. Judges are not above the law. Y'all want to scream, well, then it's Trump. And you don't get to resist if you're a judge. You just don't. So this is what's happening. These judges are resisting. They're putting up obstacles that are not legal for them to put up. And they're doing it to protect the worst people. This particular guy that she was protecting, this judge, this particular illegal immigrant that she was protecting, the victims were in the courtroom. We're sitting in the courtroom. And I believe it had to do with, it was a domestic violence case. So that case is proceeding, right? He's getting his due process. And after it happened, ICE wanted him. And they were there to wait until after, and she snuck him out. But this gives the total breakdown. Play this guy. It's not real long. I might let it just play all the way through. It's just 3 minutes.
A judge has been arrested, and we have the criminal complaint right here in black and white. Let's get into it. It starts when ICE agents, they receive a tip that a man by the name of Eduardo Flores Ruiz, this man right here, has been arrested for battery DV. Eduardo, he was also ordered deported back in April of 2013. The agents, they get an arrest warrant and they head on down to the courthouse where they know Eduardo will be. They go inside, right on into courtroom 615. Courtroom 615 is run by Judge Hannah Dugan. This woman, right here. The agents, they speak with the courtroom deputy and they tell him, we're FBI agents. We're here to effectuate the arrest of Eduardo. The courtroom deputy says, no problem. Why don't you guys wait outside until he's done with court? The courtroom deputy then goes back in, and when he's there, the judge finds out that there's agents right outside. She says, this is absurd. She gets up out her seat and she walks down and she goes down into her chambers. Then she walks around out into the hallway where the agents are, and she asks them, do you have a court appearance here today? The agents say, no, we don't. We're here to make an arrest. The judge says, do you have a warrant? The agents say, yes, would you like to see it? The judge says, you guys go on over to the chief judge. One of the agents gets up and heads on down to speak with the chief judge. The judge Dugan goes back into her courtroom. She tells Eduardo and his lawyer, why don't you guys follow me? She takes them through this back jury door, down the little hall. When they're in the hall and they spot Eduardo, the agents, they spot him. Eduardo goes out, he kind of makes a little run for it, and they catch him. A few days later, the agents charge Judge Dugan with some very serious felonies. Obstructing or impeding a proceeding before a department or agency of the United States, and concealing an individual to prevent his discovery and arrest. Keep in mind, everything that I've told you is from this criminal complaint. And this is all from an FBI agent. We don't have any information as to what Judge Dugan has to say, and she is presumed to be innocent. Judge Dugan is brought before a federal judge, and he ultimately releases her. This is her coming out of the courtroom. Now, she's doing the right thing, keeping her mouth shut. The only time a person charged with a crime should ever speak is in the courtroom. She's aware that there's agents there. She's aware that those agents are there to effectuate an arrest. And she's even aware that they have a warrant. Under those conditions, if this information is true, Judge Dugan has a problem.
And there you go. But Trump's being a dictator, arresting judges. And the Democrats are doubling down and defending that judge. There is no defense of that judge. None whatsoever of any kind. And that's the whole point. We can't even agree on this kind of shit. So you say the Trump administration deports somebody that they shouldn't deport. Okay. But when they do it in the proper way, when they do it this way, when they do it with a warrant and are following all the steps, and there's still a problem with it, you don't care about due process then. You're not, because when they're given due process, you still don't want them held accountable. Why? Why is it okay? Why do people want to protect that guy and not the victim sitting in the courtroom? I thought Democrats wanted to protect women from domestic violence. Isn't that a thing? Isn't there like the whole feminist, there's a movement for it and all this, and we had the Me Too and you believe women and all. What happened to defending women? It's just getting, we defend women except in this case. In this case, we don't care. And we don't care about the American citizen. We care about this person instead. And my God, that's my whole point, is having these conversations. And you know how I've really been able to upset them? In my post, and just like, oh man, they like come unglued. When I bring up, I'll just wait for the Civil War. I'll wait for the Civil War to break out because they're talking about impeachment and stuff again. And I'm telling you, this would not be like any other time. People don't have to like what I say. I don't care. Call me a conspiracy theory. You can call me anything you want. But I'm to the point now where like I so don't care so much and don't want to deal with it. But I can't say that. But Hakeem Jeffries can say that you should take it to the streets. Maxine Waters can say that you should get in our faces. It's okay. You should be able to spit on us. You should be able to grab our hats. You should be able to hit us with objects, throw things at us. You should be able to key our cars, put them on fire, jump on them, hit them with hammers as we go by. You should be able to do all of that. And you don't think there's going to be consequences? And if they actually did try to impeach the president again, you think we're just going to roll over for that? No, man, you had your chances with that. The American people have spoken, and y'all need to, it's only been 100 days. Y'all got like 1,360 days left or whatever it is, you got time left. You need to like come down to earth, because you're going to keep escalating this beyond a point that it's not going to be good. I don't want civil war, but I'm not going to back down from a fight, man. I'm not. And I'm at the point now, I'm wearing my Under Armour stuff today, but you've seen me enough. How many times a week do I wear something Trump related or my Trump hat? A lot. And where do I not go wearing that? I don't not go anywhere. I go everywhere I want to wear that. There is no part of this country, no part of a city, no part of a hood. There ain't no motherfucking place I won't go. At this point, I'm practically daring you. Please, please come up and say something about my hat that's not positive and get in my face or yell at me or be all obscene and crazy. I'm not some old motherfucker that's gonna or some weak ass motherfucker. That is not gonna happen. So I'm not promoting civil war, but that just, man, once I mention that, they just go ape shit. But what do I hear every day, all day on social media? Hitler, Nazi, white supremacist. I mean, they've said that over the last number of years. They said that about other presidents or Republicans as well, but never to this level. It's turned up to level 10, man. It's at the highest it can go. I don't know that it can go much higher. And I'm just not gonna take it without giving it back. That's all I'm saying. I'm just gonna give it back. I'm not going to start it, but I am here to engage. You want to engage? You want to engage in a legitimate conversation, which is what I'd prefer to do and what I'll do with guests and promote that kind of thing. That's what I'm really about. But if people want to engage in some other kind of way, I'm your huckleberry. Totally not what I was expecting today. Going in. I don't even know if I tied any of that together. That might just be some garbage I just pulled together for this episode. Who knows? See what you can do with that mess, Chase. That's what we have. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces.